Hey guys, welcome back to another Unreal Engine 4 tutorial. Today we're going to be working with Paper 2D. I'm going to show you how I made that that coin collection blueprint example that I showed off the other day. So just to show you again what it looks like, let me just pull up the editor here. Whoops, it's playing in a different window. Let's get it in a new window so I can show you. It's going to take a second. There we go. So we have the ability to collect coins, and there's a coin counter at the top right and a lives counter at the top left. And the lives counter, it'll go up by 1 once you collect 100 coins, but too many coins to really show off right now to do that. So we have the ability to collect coins like this, and then we also have these blocks that the Paper 2D example comes with, but we have the ability to collect coins from here too. And then it disappears once it's out of coins. So that's basically what we're going to be making here. So we're going to start from scratch. So if you haven't already, you can go to the Unreal Launcher here, and in the Marketplace, I believe it's in there, or the Learning tab, I should say, there's the Unreal Stick Figure 2D option project. So that's the one I'm working off of. So if you want to download that, just so you have this map and some of the basic blueprints we're going to be deriving from, so you don't have to make everything from scratch. But what we're going to do first here is create a new folder just for it here. So let's create a new folder, and I'm just going to call this coin collection, or coin_collection BP. And then within this, we're going to do a new folder we're going to call assets, and then another folder that we're going to call blueprints. Now, what we're going to do here is we're first going to import some assets. I was able to find online a blueprint sprite sheet of a coin from pretty much Mario, from I believe it's Mario 3, whichever one it may be. So I'll have a link to where you can get that. And I also have a sound for the coin that I also downloaded online, so I can give you the file for that as well. But let's get into our assets folder. Let's right click, let's import, and then I have this in a specific folder. Here we go, gold coin sprite. So they're PNGs. So we can save those. So it's 6 sprite textures here. But we're also going to import one more time the actual sound. Alright, so that's in 2. So now what we can do, because now we have to make the actual sprite and flipbook for this coin. Let's go ahead, select all 6 of these. We should be able to go sprite actions and then create sprite. And now we create a sprite for each one. We can save that. Now one last thing we need to do is right click, and it should be under materials potentially, or under animation. Yeah, under animation we have a sprite flipbook. We'll just name this coin_flipbook. Now let's double click on it, and it brings us to the flipbook editor. This is where we can add as many keyframes as we want, depending on how many frames we have. So we have 6 in total. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we go back into our content browser and just add these one by one. Just in the order here. So all 6 are going in. And there we go. And we can also change the rate of how fast it goes through each frame here. So I'll change the frame rate to 10. That works for us here. But now that we have that going, so now we have our flipbook. We can save that. And then we can actually start making some blueprints. So let's right click, let's do a new blueprint class. It's going to be an actor, and we'll call this BP underscore coin. Double click that to open it up. So we're going to add a few components here. First, let's go back to our assets and select our flipbook. Go back into our blueprint for the coin, add component. Scroll down to the paper flipbook. It'll have the coin flipbook here highlighted because it's selected in our content browser, so we can just click that. So we got that going, but one thing I want to do first is delete that. Let's create a root mesh here. So we'll do an arrow, name it root, and then we can add the flipbook over that. So there's our flipbook, and I'm just going to rename it coin. And then now we need to add a new component. It's going to be a sphere. No, I'm sorry, no. It's not going to be a sphere mesh. It's going to be a collision, sphere collision. And I'll just rename that to collision. And we can reduce the radius. Let's do 24. That should be good. And we'll leave everything else default. And that's all we should need for this blueprint, at least for the actual components of it. So now we can actually start working on the actual blueprint graph. So first, let's go into the construction script. Let's right click and do get actor location. Let's right click on the return value and split that construct script so we get X, Y, and Z independently. And then we're going to do set actor location. And again, we're going to break this up too. And what we're going to do basically is make sure that it gets set to 0 in the y-axis. Just because it's paper 2D, we don't want to have any kind of depth. We want all the objects to be on the same plane. So return X and return Z can plug in right away. And then return Y can be left at 0. So that's all we really need to do for the construction script. And just to show you how that basically works, we have our BP coin. And we can just right click anywhere, place actor. And there's our coin. And as you can see, it defaults to the same plane. Now if we play, we can see that the coin's kind of small. So what we're going to do, back into the viewport actually, let's click on the coin here. And actually what we're going to do instead, so this does need to be bigger. Let's get the scale. We'll make this 2 by 2 by 2. And the collision should be able to stay the same. It looks roughly where we want it to be. So now, if we play in the game again, the coin is a better size. So the size of it's perfect, so that's good for what we need right now. So now that we got the construction script done, let's move on to our event graph. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to get the event begin play. And we're going to get a reference to our character, because we're going to need to call some variables within that very soon. So let's first get a reference to that class. So drag this out to get all actors of class. We're going to do my character. And then drag the out actors, hit a get. And then pulling from the get, let's do a cast to my character. Now all we have to do is promote this from here to a variable. We'll call that character reference. So now that we have a character reference, let's also pull up the character for this project. So let's go to content. It should just be called my character. Here it is. Double click on that guy. And this is all the default functionality for the character. We're not going to make too big of a deal. We're not going to do much in here except pretty much make variables for us. So while we're in here, let's go ahead and make those variables. Let's go ahead and hit the plus on the variable. This one, all of them are going to be integer variables. So we'll make it an integer type. And we'll name this first one number of coins. Compile, leave its default value to 0. And then we're also going to make a category. We're just going to call this custom variables, just for organizational purposes. So now we have a little tab here for our variables. This one has number of coins. So we're going to do another variable. Again, it's going to be integer. This one's going to be called total number of coins. Put them into the custom variables category. Leave it to a default of 0. And then this last one, another variable, going to be integer. We'll put it into the custom variables category. We'll name this number of lives. Compile that, and we'll set it to a default value of 1, just so we have it. And for right now, that should be all we need to do within the My Character blueprint. So now we can go back into our coin blueprint. And what we're going to first focus on, we don't need to do event begin overlap. We're not going to do it with the normal coin actor. What we're going to do it with instead is the collision. So let's select collision from our component section. Right click, and then we'll do add event, collision, add on component, begin overlap. Now from the other actor, we're basically going to tell if this is the player touching it. So we're going to get class, and then we're going to see if it's equal to a specific class. Obviously, the class we're going to check is the My Character class. And then from this comparison, we're going to pull a branch and connect it up. Whoops. And just right from the start, what we can do is get a print string. We'll call the print string, we'll put the string as player touches coin, and we'll plug that into the true. So basically, when our player touches this coin, we should see that string be printed into our log. So let's see if that works. And it does. We get that right there. So we know we're doing that comparison correctly. So let's go back into our coin. For right now, we'll disconnect this print string unless we need it later for a debug. But what we're going to do now, as soon as the player touches the coin, that's where I want the actual sound to play. So let's go into our assets folder. Let's grab the sound effect. Let's right click. We'll do play sound at location. We'll put in the play sound at location. But what I want to do instead, I just want to rename this. I'll call this coin sound, or coin underscore sound. Save that. Plug that into the true, and then the location, we're going to actually get our character reference because we want this sound to play at the player's location. So we're going to do get actor location. And then we're going to plug that up. So let's compile, let's save, let's see if that works. So when we touch it, we should be able to just hear the sound. And that's working, so that's perfect. So what we gotta do now, basically when we get the coin, we want, 1, the sound to play, we want 2, the coin to disappear and be destroyed, but we also want to add the number of coins to the player's total number of coins. So that's why we had those variables in the character reference class. So let's go ahead and increment those variables. So let's get our character reference again. The first one we're going to increment is the number of coins, so we're going to do get number of coins. And then pulling from this, we're going to do a plus, and an integer plus integer, and we're just going to add 1 to it. So now what we need to do is get a character reference and then set the number of coins. And basically set this increment to the number of coins. And then plug that up. Now what we need to do, kind of the same thing, we're going to need to do the same thing for the total number of coins. And the reason why we have those different variables is because the number of coins is just going to be how many coins the player actively collected out of 100. So as soon as the player gets to 100, it's going to reset number of coins to 0 and add 1 to lives. And then for the total number of coins, we're going to keep incrementing no matter what. So even if the player has collected 101 coins, the total number of coins is going to say 101, but the number of coins is going to say 1. So that might be a little confusing, but that's the way I set it up. So it's going to be the same idea, except number of coins is going to be changed to total number of coins. And we're going to do a +1. And then we're going to set it. So set total. So let's get these guys connected. And then it's from here, we're going to right click and do self. We want to get a reference to ourselves here as a coin. And then we're going to pull from the self and do destroy actor. So this basically removes the coin from the world. And then after this is we're going to do a check to see how many coins the player has. So we're going to get character reference and then number of coins. We're going to see, hey, do they have equal to or larger than 100 coins right now after collecting this one? And if they do, that's when we're going to reset those variables. If they don't, that's when we're going to do nothing. So pretty much, let's go ahead and do a branch from here. So say yes, we have more than 100 coins at this point. That's where we're going to do this set number of coins here again. Except we're going to keep it set to 0. And that's where we're going to increment our lives by 1. So let's get a character reference node. Do get number of lives. Do +1. Oops. And then we're going to set number of lives. And connect that up. And just move things around here. But that's really it for this coin. What we're going to do now, just so we can actually see some results, what we're going to do is go into our blueprints folder. Let's right click. Let's do new blueprint class. And we're actually going to make a HUD. So type in HUD, just select the normal HUD, hit select. I'm going to call this BP2D HUD. And then what we're going to do here, let's go into our normal editor window here, go to edit, we'll go to project settings, we'll go to maps and modes, under selected game mode, all we're going to do is change the HUD class to BP_2D HUD, just so it's in place. We'll Control S to save it. Now we can open up our BP2D HUD and just go straight into our event graph. We don't need any of these nodes to start out with. Basically, the HUD starts out with an event receive draw HUD node. That's what we need to start with. And this is where we're going to actually display the number of coins and the number of lives. And the way I have it set up, it basically writes the coins and how many coins we have twice, as well as the number of lives that we have twice, just to get an effect that it looks like the text is outlined. I'll show you what that means in a second, but basically what we need to do is grab a draw text, I'm sorry, let's see, we're going to need the HUD version of that. Let's go ahead and plug this in immediately. The text color is going to be black, the screen X is going to be 1028, screen Y is going to be 60. And for the font, what we need to do is go into our content browser. Down here where it says view options, we'll do show engine content. So in the engine content folder, you can just type in font. And there we have the Roboto distance field text font. So that's one we're going to use. So with that selected, let's just plug that into our font. For the scale, this is where things are going to get a little weird. We're going to do this as 1.5025. Scale position is going to stay at false. All we need to do now is set what the text is going to be. So we're going to first need an append node for strings, because it's going to be two different strings. In the A, that's where we're going to have where it says coins, then we're going to do a space, and then a colon, and then another space. And then under B, that's where we're going to need to get the reference to the number of coins. So in order to do that, we need to grab our event begin play node. And we're going to do the same thing that we did in the coin blueprint, where we're going to get all actors of class, do a my character reference, and then from the out actors do a get, and then pull from that cast to my character. And then we're going to promote this to a variable, and we'll call it character reference. Whoops, first I got to spell that right. Compile, and now we'll do a character reference. We'll get the number of coins, and then we'll just plug it up to B. And then return value will go into the text. Now all we need to do here, copy and paste this draw text. Whoops. Plug it up. We're going to change its text color to completely white. We're going to leave both the screen X and screen Y the same. We're going to keep the font the same, but we're going to change the scale to 1.5. And we're going to plug in this text again. We're going to compile. Let's duplicate this coin. There's in total for 3 of them. But now when we play, we should see the coins on our HUD. So now, right now you can maybe see it, but it says coin 0. And then when we collect 1, it adds 1 to it. Collect another 1. Now we have 2. And then we have 3. So we know that HUD is working. Now all we really need to do is a similar idea, except now we're going to do it for the number of lives. So we'll copy and paste these two guys, the draw text, plug them up. Same order, just in terms of black text and then white text. But now the screen X is going to be 50. And the screen X is going to be 50 again. Screen Y and screen Y are both going to be 60. And then all we need to do now is just copy and paste this append. We're going to change it. Instead of it saying coins, we're going to do lives, space, colon, and then a space. And then instead of it referencing the number of coins, we're going to do number of lives. And by default, I believe we set that to 1. So if we go back in, we're not seeing it being displayed. So we did something incorrect. Oh, because we didn't actually plug it in. So let's plug it in now. Compile again, save. And now we should see the word lives and with the number 1. And we do. So now if the player collects 100 of these coins, it'll add to the lives and set the coins to 0. Just so you can see that working, let's go back into our BP coins. Instead of it looking for 100, we'll see if it's looking for more than 2. So now when we collect more than 2, we should get lives gets to 2, and then coins gets reset to 0. So we collect 1, then we collect 2. So now we have 2 lives, and the coins went back to 0, and then we can start collecting again. So that's basically it for just the basic coins here. So at this point, you can put them anywhere you want in the level, make as many as you want, just copy and paste them, do whatever you need to do. But the last thing we're going to do, if you look into the default level that comes provided with the Unreal Engine stick figure 2D game, you have this block. They said we never got around to finishing this, but if you fancy a challenge, try making it do something. What we're going to do, we're just going to duplicate this. And we're going to bring that towards our player, just so it's near us. We'll put it right here, just to show you what they have in terms of functionality for this. They have it so if you hit it, it just kind of bounces up, kind of like in Mario. And it says hello. Let me first change the coins again to 100. Compile that just so that's not the same. What we're going to do basically with this box is we're going to right click on it. Let me make sure we click on it. We can right click on it. Actually, let's not right click on it. Let's just click on it. And then what we can do, we can go to Edit Blueprint. And we can create a child blueprint class. So we're going to do that. And we're going to call this BP underscore coin block. And we'll put that into our blueprints folder. And then we'll create the blueprint. And now we can go ahead and double click it, open up. We're not going to do anything different just in terms of what it looks like and the default components of it. All we're going to really do is change the actual functionality of it. So we're going to do basically the begin overlap. We can get the tick out of the way for right now, and we can get the event begin play out of the way for right now. What we're going to do, the first thing, it's not going to make too much sense right now, but pulling from the parent actor begin overlap, we're going to create a do once. And then from here, what we're going to do is create 3 variables. One's going to be called coins in block. So let's create that variable. Coins in block. It's going to be an integer variable. We're going to make this a public variable by clicking on the I here. And then we're going to compile. The next one is going to be a Boolean variable that we're going to call bActive. And we're also going to make it public by clicking editable. And then the last variable we're going to make, it's going to come from the event tick. We're just going to pull out the delta seconds, promote to variable, just call that delta time in case we need it. So now we can compile that. But after the do once, what we're going to do is get a coins in block. We're going to see if it's less than or equal to 0. And then we're going to pull out here a branch, connect that up. And then what we need to do here is grab the collision inherited component, right click and do set collision. Set collision enabled, I should say. We're going to set it to no collision. And that's only if this is false. So basically, if the coins in the block is, if there's more than 0, basically as long as there's 1 in there, we're going to set the collision here to no collision. And we can just kind of get a reference to it as well. Forget exactly where that comes into play. I think we can just right click somewhere to show inherited variables. Not sure where. But nonetheless, this is what we want. And then from the collision enabled, we're going to grab our active. We're going to do another branch. So we're going to say, hey, is this active right now? Are we able to basically hit this and get a coin? And then if it's yes, we can. At that point, we're going to set active to false. And that's when we're going to spawn the coin blueprint. So we're going to do spawn actor from class. Our class is going to be BP underscore coin. We're going to plug that up. Now for the spawn transform, what we're going to need to do, we want it to basically spawn pretty much above our block. So we're going to get a reference to self. And then we're going to do a get actor transform. Then we're going to break the transform. And then we're going to break the location vector. And then we're going to make a vector. And the x and y, they're going to be the same. But the z, we want the coin to spawn maybe about 100 units above our block. So we'll grab the z and do a plus, and it's going to be a float plus float. Make it 100, plug that into the z. Let's just grab this, pull that back. And then we're going to do a make transform. And then we're going to plug the result into spawn transform. So basically, we want this coin to spawn 100 units above our block. We want the scale of this coin to be 2 by 2 by 2, just like we have it in our actual level. And then the rotation, we're just going to grab from the original break transform. And there we have it. So now this coin is going to spawn above the block. So we can save that. And then we can try to test this out. Let's just make the coins in block 1, just so we can actually use it. And let's see if this works right now. So it's just going to spawn a coin above it if we hit this. Or not. Looks like it's not going to let us do anything. Let's just make sure everything's okay. Actually, we'll just test this at the very end. So, last thing we're going to need to do up to this point, the return value, let's promote this to a variable. And we'll call this coin reference. Then we're going to need a sequence. We'll plug that up. Now from the sequence, the first thing we're going to do is basically animate our coin, because in Mario when you hit the block the coin shoots up and kind of drops down and then disappears. We want the same idea. So let's right click and let's find a timeline. So let's add a timeline and we'll call this coin animation. Now this animation is going to be really simple. Let's create a new float track and we'll call this coin animation. It's going to be about 0.6 seconds, and it's going to need 3 keyframes. So hold down Shift and left click, create 3 different keyframes. First keyframe is going to be at 0 and 0 for time and value. For the time for the middle one, the second one here, it's going to be 0.3 in time, value at 1. And then at the very end here, this last keyframe is going to be 0.6 for time. Value, we'll do 0.5. Now we'll hit these buttons to get a huge zoom view of this. Now control left click all 3 of these so they're all selected. Let's right click, go to auto, just so there's a curve and it's a smoother animation. So now that we got that going, we can compile and save. Let's go back into our event graph. Now the first part of our sequence, the then 0, it's going to go to play from start. And what we need to do now is lerp a vector. So let's type in lerp, find the one for vector. The coin animation here, this curve, is going to go into our alpha. A is going to stay at 0, 0, 0. B is going to go to 0, 0, and then 50. So basically what's going to happen is the coin's going to go from its spawn position and then up to 50 units higher and then down 25 units because we did it at 0.5. So now that we have that, what we need to do here is grab our coin reference, do a set relative location for the coin, plug that in, and that's going to go into the update. And then what we're going to do, once this animation's finished, We're going to grab the coins and block thing that we have here. See where it's checking if it's greater than or equal to 0. We're going to grab that along with its branch. We're going to need that again. Copy and paste it over here. And this is going to connect to the finished. So after this animation's done, we're basically going to say, hey, is there any coins in this block anymore? If not, so basically if there's no more coins, so if this is true, we're going to get our reference to ourself and do destroy component block sprite. And we're just going to plug that in. If this is false, what we're going to do is get a coin reference, do destroy actor. And actually what we can do here, instead of self, we can do destroy actor as well. We don't have to just destroy the component, we can just destroy the whole thing. So that goes into true when there's no coins left. If there's still coins left, what we're going to do is destroy the coin itself. We'll do a delay of 0.05, just a very short delay. We're going to set active to true. Move this out of the way. And then we're going to grab the collision again, set collision enabled. And we're going to set this to no physics collision. One thing I want to go ahead and try to do here as well, let's go into our viewport. I want to get a reference to this variable somehow. Forgot how I did it. Oh, never mind. It's under the components. No, I'm just kidding. It should be somewhere. Like, it's up here, but forgot how I opened it so that I get access to it. It's very strange. I have it in my original. Like just getting a reference to it as a variable. It's not going to let me do anything with that. Let's see. Because yeah, this is bugging me just a little bit. It's not exactly how I have it set up. Let's see. I won't worry about it for right now. So basically what we have set up right now, we have it so that when we hit the box, it plays that animation, spawns the coin, makes it go up, and drops down, destroys that coin. If there's no more coins in this box, it destroys the box itself, and then basically we can start all over again. So the last thing we need to do is this set collision enabled. We're just going to drag this all the way back to the do once, and we're going to plug this into the reset. So last but not least, in here, we're going to need again to get a reference to our character. So let's get all actors of class. We'll do my character, and then get, and then cast it. Oops, that's a comment. And then promote that to a variable, and we'll call that again character reference. And the reason why we need to get a character reference is because we need to have the ability to increment the number of coins that we have, because obviously these will count. So, primarily what we need to work with at this point is the second part of our sequence here. So again, we're going to need to increment them by 1. So just to save ourselves some hassle, let's grab number of coins here from our coin reference. So we're just adding it by 1. Same thing for total number of coins. Whoops. Paste that. So we're just incrementing both of those. And then we also want to go ahead and play the sound at that location. So we can just grab this as well. But at this point, this is where we need to do some unique logic. This is where we need to take the number of coins in the block. We need to get that, and we need to subtract it by 1. So integer minus integer, minus it by 1, and then set coins in block to that result. And then plug that up. And then we should be good. My only concern is the collision aspect. I don't think we're doing that right, but let's see. Yeah, so that's not working. So we need to figure that out. I'm pretty sure I know why it's not working, but then again, who knows? Let's go back to the coin block. I'm trying to get a reference to our collision. It's an inherited variable because it's a child blueprint class. So this is where I think it's going wrong here. There should be an option that shows inherited variables somewhere. But I don't know how to get access to it. So let me just double check some things, because again, this is annoying. Let's see here. So again, I apologize. I'm trying to figure this out for us just as fast as possible. Not too sure where it's at. It's not under components at all. Not too 100% sure what's going on, why I can't do this. Which is annoying. So I'm going to take a pause here. I'm going to edit it so you can, once I figure this out, you'll see it. So I'll be back in just a second. So I was able to find where you can get the inherited variables here. We just have to hit this I that's up here and then click on Show Inherited Variables. Now we got an actual reference to our collision, the actual collision component here, right, this box right there. So now that we have a reference to this, we can actually do set collision enabled and set it to no collision. Connect those together. Then we can copy that, go all the way to the end, and then change the set collision enabled. Change that to no physics collision. Put that in, and then set this all the way back to the reset of the do once. And then all we have to do at this point is connect these two. the other actor, and now we should be able to do this. So this coin only has one block in it, so we should, I'm sorry, this block has only one coin in it, so we should be able to hit it once and then it should disappear. Or not. Let's go ahead, this might not be the right class here, so let's X that out. Let's go into here, do BP coin block, and we'll just right click, add it, we'll move it. Set coins in block, we'll just set this to 3. Let's see if this works. Okay, so we're still seeing it not working. Which is nice, just kidding, it's not nice, but let's see why it's not working at this point. Just gotta compare everything. So it should be spawning the BP coin class. So everything here is right. So the first thing it's not doing is spawning it here. So let's try this. Right, as soon as we begin overlap, let's see if it'll actually spawn the coin. Let's see if it'll even do that. So let's play an editor. Okay, so it spawned it and then it broke. So let's do the do once. And then plug that into the spawn. Actually, I'm stupid. I'm pretty sure I know what's wrong. Okay, so let's just bring it all back. The only thing we need to do at this point is go to our active blueprint here, not blueprint, but active boolean, and just check it as active. So we have to make that true to start. So let's see if that fixes it. So that works. The only thing we need to do now is go back into the coin block and do the reset. So do once. And we're kind of stupid as well, just in terms of me. We don't have to make this 2 by 2 anymore. It should still be by 1 because when we created the coin, we set it to 2 in its default property, so it should spawn in as 2. So now let's see. So we got that working, so the last thing that we really need to do here at this point is here, the destroy actor for self. We can now put this into the destroy actor of the coin. So now, again, I apologize for how sloppy this is, but I think we got everything in order at this point. We have our coins that we're collecting. Now we got 1, 2, 3. That's destroyed. And now we basically can bring these wherever we want, these boxes. Set the number of coins to whatever we want. So at this time we'll make it 10 for that second box. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it's gone. So that's pretty much it. So in our HUD, this is where we're basically displaying our coins and the number of lives. In our character, all we did was add those three variables: number of coins, total number of coins, and number of lives. In the actual coin blueprint, we check for collision, see if they're actually colliding with the player. Then we play the sound, and then we basically add the number of coins by 1. We add the total number of coins by 1. We destroy the coin itself, and then we do a check to see if the player has more than 100 coins. If they do, we add 1 to the number of lives, and we reset the number of coins back to 0. And the coin block, this is a child class of the block blueprint that came with this example. So this one right here. So we just made a child class of that. And then from the overlap, we have a do once. We check to see if there's any coins on this block. If there is, then we go ahead and set the collision to no collision after we hit it. We set the active to false. We spawn a coin at that location, but 100 units above it. We create a reference to the coin itself, to the coin class itself, so that we can add the number of coins and add to the total number of coins, play the sound, and then we subtract the number of coins in the block. And then over here we create that animation that basically makes the coin go up and then drop down, kind of like in Mario. And then once it's done, we destroy the block itself if there's no more coins left. Otherwise, we destroy the coin actor, we do a delay, set the box to active again, and then we reset the collision and then reset the do once so that we can do the whole thing over again. So just to show you that one more time, we'll play an editor. We have the ability to collect coins, and then we have custom coin blocks that we can set to how many coins are in each block. And that's really it. So I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you did enjoy this new blueprint tutorial for Unreal Engine 4 for the coin collection system. For more videos, definitely click on the videos on the right to see more blueprint tutorials, more blueprint examples, and just overall check some more videos out with Unreal Engine 4. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, click on the subscribe button or click on me to do so. Definitely like, comment, and share the video. I would definitely appreciate it. The more views, the more people get to learn. So that's really what it's all about. So I just want to thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you next time.